What's up, y'all? Talon here, and today I have another series of ranked battles featuring rental teams, this time one created by Paul Ruiz, the VGC 2018 World Champion. It has a lot of components that are very similar to his Worlds 2018 winning team. It almost feels like he made some attempt to recreate it, and I'll go over the details of that now. We have the Ursaluna, which is pretty similar to the Snorlax on the old team, just being the setup Pokemon with Swords Dance compared to his old belly drum Snorlax, but yeah, just immense bulk and power after just one Swords Dance. We have Headlong Rush over the Earthquake. There's not a lot you can Earthquake next to on this team, so it makes a lot of sense. And we have the Ghost Terror, which is really good at becoming completely immune to its fighting weakness, as well as any extreme speeds from Dragonite. Next we have the Gothitelle, which is an interesting partner over Cresselia, just because it offers a lot of tools that Cresselia obviously does not have, specifically Shadow Tag, Fake Out, and Taunt. Fake Out's really effective for the rest of the Pokemon in the team, as well as the Ursaluna. Fake Out lets you go for Swords Dance, Quiver Dance, and I think most importantly lets your Choice Scarf Urshifu just really take over the field, because you can Fake Out one Pokemon and Surging Strikes the other, and if your opponent doesn't lead very specifically against that, you really gain a lot of advantage turn one. The Trick Room is also obviously very important on the Gothitelle to enable that Ursaluna. And next we have the Amoonguss. It's a Terra Water just to be able to resist the fire and ice coverage that often go its way. The Volcarona is Terra Water, which is really nice against Urshifu along with Leftovers and Giga Drain. If you go for Terra Water, they don't do very much damage at all, and most likely you end up at full HP at the end of the turn while they end up burned, so that's a really good option there. And you also have Quiver Dance just to be able to set up. Fire Dance is the fire move of choice here, just to be able to potentially cascade boost even faster, and it's really difficult to beat once you're up against a Quiver Dance Volcarona with a Fire Dance boost. At that point, you're just going for Giga Drain whenever you're low on HP and Fiery Dance to take knockouts otherwise, and it's a really cool set, especially with Fake Out on Gothitelle. The Urshifu Rapid Strike is Terra Water Choice Scarf, as I mentioned before, next to Fake Out. It's really difficult to deal with. Shadow Tag plus Unseen Fist is a match made in heaven, and yeah, Paul's team really exploits it very well. You can also go for a U-turn into your Trick Room mode, which I find myself going for pretty often, but overall pretty standard Urshifu. Lastly, we have the Roaring Moon, which is acting as something of a stand-in for Paul's 2018 Mega Salamence. It still has the Terra Flying, so you're able to go for flying type moves like the Aerolate Mega Salamence used to go for. Instead of a setup set and Dragon Dance, we have Tailwind and Crunch as its moves, and it's just a really bulky Pokemon, and I think pairs really well with the Ursaluna. There's a lot of situations where you get Trick Room up early game, and on the last or second to last turn of Trick Room, you have Roaring Moon and Ursaluna on the field, potentially with a Swords Dance up already. And while your opponent's trying to stall out those Tailwind or those Trick Room turns, on the last turn of Trick Room, you can go for a Tailwind, and this Ursaluna is actually EV'd to have some good speed benchmarks in Tailwind, particularly outspeeding anything up to Timid Chi-Yu, so you can definitely take a lot of unexpected knockouts and flip the game on its head while your opponent thinks they finally outlasted Trick Room, and whoops, they have to weather another couple turns of speed control. So I think it's a really cool team. Paul was able to get top 8, I believe, at a decent-sized grassroots tournament, and he was the only person to take a win off the champion of the tournament, Fede Campo. If you're interested in using the team yourself, the rental code is in the top right of the video. I also have the team creator and the Pokepaste recreation in the description as well. If you enjoy the videos, please subscribe, and with all that being said, let's get into the battles. So I ended up cutting a few battles from the start of the live just because my microphone was facing in the wrong direction. If you notice the battles being a little ahead rather than starting at 0, that's the reason why. Okay, in this battle we have a very interesting team after learning from our mistakes last battle and bringing Amoonguss instead of Roaring Moon in that Trick Room mode. Might be more advisable for consistency's sake just if you're using the team, but on to the next. We have Arcanine Hisuian form, Corviknight, Lumineon, Sneasler, the Horse, Spectrier, and Chimpao. So really interesting. I don't want to sleep on them though. Mirror Armor is a great ability, Spectrier is excellent support, Fake Out's no joke, Dire Claw's no joke, so yeah, I think we could just see Chimpao plus Choice Band Arcanine be a bit of an issue. With that in mind, if that's not the set, then Volcarona is very good against them. So if they're Rock Slide, yeah, if they're any type of set on the Arcanine, I'm actually very bad against them, so I'll rescind that, and I kind of want to mix it up on lead. But Roaring Moon's very bad into their Chimpao lead, so I'm going to go with Urshifu as my lead again, and I think tempted to go Volk because it forces them to go for Terra on their Arcanine. I can protect and bait that out. I'm going to go for Roaring Moon and Amoonguss in the back, so big deviation from the last games. I want to show off less of the Trick Room mode. It's clearly effective getting those Swords Dances up on your Ursaluna and just locking your opponents down with Gothitelle, but I think this team has more to offer, and I'm going to try and play it a little more straightforward, a little more fundamentals based instead of just hope they don't taunt my Gothitelle turn 1 and try and win with Trick Room. So I think that's a good lesson in ladder, is just you know what your game plans that work. You know which of your game plans work. Sometimes it's good to just figure out which ones need a bit of testing. And we are going to get caught by the Corviknight lead, which can knock out our thing there. The question is, do I want to go for a Terra on my... Do I want to go for Terra on my Roaring Moon at any point this game? The answer is probably no. I'm threatening big damage into their Corviknight, but they are threatening a lot more damage to me. So I think I'm going to U-turn out on the Lumineon. I think they're probably Rocky Helmet on Corv. So I'm going to go for U-turn and Terra Water Quiver Dance. I don't think... I think a Brave Bird into the Volk probably would not knock me out, but a Brave Bird plus a Water move could. Lumineon could be going for Tailwind, so I want to get a bit of speed on the board. And I don't want to just go for a Fire move into Corviknight, which 1 won't knock out, and 2 is probably going to bite right into a Terra. But we do see 1 on one of their Pokemon. And it is the Corv, and that will be Dragon. Okay, so they resist both of my stab moves. So my only super effective move now will be Ice Spinner into that. I think I'm going to go into Amoonguss. Okay, Lumineon is pure water type. I'll be fully honest, I would have guessed Water Flying. I'm going to go into Amoonguss because the damage is less permanent, and I'll also do a ton of damage back to them if they go for Brave Bird in that slot. And yeah, let's see what these two anti-meta niche picks go for. It is Tailwind, but after Quiver Dance, I kind of expect to be the fastest Pokemon still. They go for Brave Bird, and it is into Volk. Wow, that did a lot. Okay, burn. No 30% burn proc, unfortunately. I do think... it's so much safer. So much safer, okay. It'd be really, really good if I could protect my Amoonguss Spore here. Or protect. 138. Yeah, if they're EV to outspeed Fluttermane, plus a little, they might outspeed me. So I think the better play is just Giga Drain the Lumineon here. And let them eat the Brave Bird Rage Powder damage. I don't think it'll knock out my Amoonguss. Okay, they go for Encore, so very glad I went for Rage Powder and not try and get cheeky with Protect Giga Drain. Okay, Encore Taunt, that's very cool. But they are going to take a knockout. I'm going to take a knockout in exchange. But yeah, now my Amoonguss is going to be forced to struggle. It shouldn't really matter, but that's a really cool combination. Fortunately, I do just get most of my HP back, and all they've gotten is a couple turns of Tailwind, 2 remaining, and a lot of reasonable damage on their Corv, and yeah, my Pokemon kind of just chilling here. But okay, the Arcanine reveal is interesting. I think it's pretty obvious that I want to... what I want to go for here. I want Amoonguss out, obviously. But I could tank a Brave Bird into that, which I don't really want. So I think I'll go Roaring Moon into that. Let me check their back Pokemon. Without Tailwind already up, I don't really see Roaring Moon being that valuable, so I'm going to go for Protect on Volk and switch. And if they double this slot or single target it and somehow knock it out, I'm totally fine with that because I get my Amoonguss back in. on the last turn of Tailwind, and I can either go for another Quiver Dance or try and get after this Corviknight a bit more. But yeah, I just don't want to protect for no reason. And yeah, there is the Head Smash. Okay. Okay, that's almost certainly Choice Banded. And there is Brave Bird. Okay, that is a ton of damage, but I think I'm totally fine with that. Because I can just now protect my Roaring Moon. They could go for Roost. Taunt, Tailwind, Roost, Brave Bird. Seems legit. I think I'm fine with them knocking me out, though. I think I like Protect plus Giga Drain into the Arcanine on the off chance Head Smash doesn't knock me out. But my goal here is to get my... There is Head Smash. Did they do Intimidate last turn? No, right? We'll certainly see if they take any Rock Head damage. I'd expect... I don't remember if they intimidated me. Probably should have paid attention to that. Yeah. Okay. Not going to find out, but I think... Ooh. Getting a little tricky now. Head Spinner will not knock out, or Head Smash will not knock out my Urshifu. Unless they're Choice Scarf on the Arcanine, I'll be able to double into the Corviknight with Close Combat. I shouldn't Close Combat though, because if I do that... Is this not just a free Surging Strikes into the Arcanine? I think it is. They could E-Speed me. Does E-Speed Brave Bird knock me out? That's the question. I think they're Choice Banded. So with that in mind, I should just go for Tailwind Surging Strikes. Right? I don't know. It's kind of close. Oh, it is E-Speed. Okay. Uh-oh, yeah, I definitely should have doubled the Corv. Oh, yeah, okay. In retrospect, I think I should have just attacked maybe Corviknight here. But the Brave Bird damage, I think, might be relevant in a Crunch knocking them out next turn. And then Amoonguss might be able to pull this through for me. Potentially. We'll see, though. Okay, yeah. We'll definitely get them with Crunch next turn. But doubling into the Corv was definitely more correct. Or even singling into it, I guess. Because we probably knock out whatever switches in with Surging Strikes, so... There is Qian Pao. Okay. I think we're max defense on Amoonguss. Wait, it shouldn't really matter. Right? Because I think we just go Crunch, Corviknight, knock that out. Spore, Qian Pao. Sucker Punch will not knock us out. But a Ice Shard would. So I think we just play towards... I'm pretty sure max defense. So I think we just play towards no Ice Shard and hope everything works as expected. Rocky Helmet. Yep. Kind of forgot about that one. I don't know if I ever touched it. And Ice Spinner, I think we live. We do live and we get the Spore off, so... I don't know how much damage Pollen Puff does. My guess was 60. I was considering 2 Pollen Puffs instead of Spore, but I think this is just better. There's no item that could wake them up as far as I'm aware. They could have Icy Wind, so I think we don't mess around. We just go for Pollen Puff. Oops. We could Pollen Puff ourselves. Is that more consistent? It doesn't matter. Yeah, they cancel. Much ado about nothing. So yeah, able to win that. Another tight one. Gosh, this team's hard to play in best of one, but that Encore Lumineon plus Taunt Corviknight were such a crazy combination. Really creative. I don't think Lumineon, I think there's probably better Tailwind Encore Pokemon. Maybe not if they're using it. Almost certainly no better Tailwind Encore Water Absorb Pokemon to beat Urshifu. But yeah, that was definitely something. They caught me off guard. Amoonguss otherwise could have just sat on the field going for Rage Powder, and they made the perfect play to prevent that from being an issue. Okay, but it does look like we're one battle away from Ultra Ball after some early bad losses. Not bad losses. One of them was to a crit, the other one, I don't really remember. I think we just played bad. Alright, so after running that calculation, Sucker Punch from even Black Class's Jolly Urshifu does 164 max, so I believe we're at 180 something on the Ursaluna, so if they're not Focus Sash, which they very well might have been, and I'm just doing these calcs for nothing, then I should have gotten the Facade off and then walled out their potentially Choice Banded Dragonite and won from there, but that's entirely relying on them not being Focus Sash, which is probably the most likely set, but yeah, that's definitely just the struggle of open team sheet ladder when you're using, I feel like a more control-heavy team. When you don't know the opposing Pokemon's item, it can be a bit of an issue, so mileage may vary on this team. I definitely recommend it in best of 3. It has some proven success there, but in best of 1, it's not doing me so hot in this low ladder setting. So next we have Iron Bundle, Chi-Yu, Amoonguss, Urshifu, Tornadus, and Heatran. So I can almost certainly say we're going to see Sunny Day, Tornadus here. Given that, Tailwind, Bleak Wind, Sunny Day. Do they fit Taunt on the set? Maybe, maybe not. This could be another Trick Room game, but it could also be pretty solid for... Volk's actually quite bad against everything. Yeah, it's forced to Terra against everything in the game, so I'm going to deviate away from that. I think Urshifu is a pretty good lead to everything but Iron Bundle. And... yeah, everything but Iron Bundle. So what am I going to do about that? If they lead Iron Bundle, I'm kind of cooked. Unless I bring in Gothitelle. That does bait them out to go for... Hey, am I just going to do the same thing again? Yeah, just bait the Trick Room. It's been pretty effective. I think I should have won the... I could have won the last game. But this time I think... Yeah, we're going to go Amoonguss. It's a lot less interesting, but a lot more consistent of the Trick Room options. I think if we have Amoonguss last game, we just Spore the Dragonite, Rage Powder away the Sucker Punch. Yeah, definitely way better. More consistent, but I think we almost showed it off, the really cool Tailwind mode, and we kind of got skewed off course by a critical hit, but this time going for a bit more consistency in our game plan with the Amoonguss. So it's going to be Torn and a Heatran. I think I like... Ooh. Usually I would go for a... I think a Terra Blast is probably coming in here. I actually want them to knock me out. Even though I could U-turn, read them. If I take a Terra Blast, it's quite bad, I think. So I think what I want to do is go for... Well... I think I'm going to Surging Strike's Trick Room. Or should I Fake Out? I think if they're Covert Cloak, they go for Bleak Wind here. Okay, interesting. No Protect or Terra from Heatran, and we outspeed them next turn, and this Surging Strikes looks like it's going to knock out, so that actually serves against us here because they are not going for Terra Blast. The Heat Wave, I think Sunny Day was probably a better play for them there, so that they live as well as 2-hit KO both of my Pokemon and get Tailwind up next turn. Yeah, that seems a lot more consistent, but I could have close combated Heatran, taken a knockout that way. Ooh, Amoonguss is annoying because now they can outspeed my Gothitelle pretty easily. Although they are more or less forced to Rage Powder. Wait, no. Okay. This is actually very cool, because unless they're minimum speed Amoonguss, I should be able to go for a Taunt into their Amoonguss and just switch into my Ursaluna. I think I'm fine knocking my own. The issue here is if they go for Grass Terra Blast this turn, I'm in a bit of trouble. But I think they're more likely to go for Rage Powder Heat Wave again and just count on the Surging Strikes damage to the Rocky Helmet damage to knock my Urshifu into Heat Wave range, which it would. Okay. Okay. This could be a throw because, yeah, I might have played a little too aggressive here. It's Flying Heatran. Oh, wow. Okay. So that's another way to resist ground moves. Instead of resist them, just wholly levitate above them. But yeah, the speed dynamics work this way, where I am the slowest Pokemon in the field. I get the Taunt off, and for once it... Oh, God. Okay, Terra Flying. Woo. So I got the play right, but I got the play wrong. Yeah, but still a lot of damage. I think we do probably knock them out with Facade, or at least get pretty close. I can Facade, knock out their Heatran, Spore it if they knock me out. I think that will knock them out, but if it doesn't, I want to Psychic that too. But they could just Protect and then Pollen Puff my Gothitelle, but with Citrus Berry, I'm confident without a crit that won't knock me out. So I think Facade Psychic is right into the Heatran. This Pokemon just always shocks me, the damage output. No Terra. Straight up just burned Facade, knocking out the Heatran in one hit. That used to be one of the hardest Pokemon ever to knock out. Cresselia Heatran, back in the day, back like circa 2012, the hardest Pokemon to knock out, especially the combination of them. But in this case, we just, just catch them terroring early and then Facade them. I think I probably would have Facaded even if they were ground type, just because there's no way they let me get that hit off, the Headlong Rush, but very nice. God, it's such a gross Pokemon. It's so gross. And yeah, Urshifu comes in. I could... Like, there's really no reason to go for anything but a Facade into that and Terra Ghost, I think. Wait, which Urshifu was it? No, I definitely shouldn't go for Terra Ghost. Ah, okay. Yeah, knock out the Amoonguss is definitely what I need to go for here, because my Urshifu plus Amoonguss combo will always beat them, and I know from my Calc last game that even Choice Band would not knock out my Urshifu in this range without a critical hit, so we are going to look a little silly with our Psychic going into the Dark Urshifu, but that was kind of the intention, is just in case we go for that. And they're Drain Punch Urshifu, which is a pretty cool tech weave I've been seeing a bit on some of the higher ladder Urshifu players, as they're running Drain Punch over close combat, or their priority move, more so Aqua Jet on Urshifu, but they're running as a fighting move the Drain Punch just because it lets them win the mirror against other Urshifu, especially if they get a close combat off first. Then you get a Drain Punch at their -1 defense and just heal most of it back up and win that mirror while also having the advantage of bulk in other matchups. So, last turn of Trick Room, we're just going to Spore switch, and not a whole lot they can do about it unless they're Safety Goggles, and somehow Sucker Punch knocks out our Urshifu next turn. Yeah, especially with Rocky Helmet, Focus Sash isn't going to do the trick for them. You know what? Safety Goggles or Lumberry could have been an issue here. Could have been an issue for sure if they read my switch and go for close combat. But yeah, the Trick Room bluff works. 2 for 3. And yeah, Rage Powder CC is going to lock it up pretty convincingly. Okay, potentially last battle in Ultra Ball, and it's an interesting one. We have Torn, Fluttermane, Heatran, Amoonguss, Azumarill, and Scizor. So, I think this is actually a very good Volcarona game if we can knock out Tornadus. Kind of. Heatran's bad, but the rest are good. It'd be really good. Yeah. Volk feels like the weak link on this team, man. Every time I'm like, oh, maybe, it's like, no, not really. So, I think Terra Ghost loses its effectiveness a little bit here. They might have a hidden Terra Ghost, honestly. They could go for Bleak Wind, but I think we could this time go for Surging Strikes turn 1 instead of what we've been going for. Or threaten U-turn. I really want to leave Gothitelle so we can deal with their Amoonguss. But the Azumarill is a concern for sure. I think Volk is decent. It's just really bad against Heatran. And I'm already playing so risky, I feel, that I'm just going to go with the standard mode for this team, at least in Best of 1. I don't know how... I think this is probably the combo Paul was planning on most often, just because Fake Out Urshifu is so good. I definitely expect that combination to have some presence at the World Championship, just because of, it just has natural synergy. Fake Out, you can't switch, no defensive options, and then Unseen Fist, Surging Strikes to punish that even further. It's really something I expect people to be onto. But it is Scizor and Azumarill, and that is definitely frightening. I think I like Amoonguss on Switch, and U-turn could be cute. U-turn's better, certainly. So I think U-turn into... What do I need more damage into? I think Azu folds to pretty much anything, whereas Scizor could live a Headlong Rush. Maybe. So I think I go for Fake Out into this Scizor. Also another really cool thing, U-turn is guaranteed because of Unseen Fist. So you don't have to worry about just making the wrong U-turn. So hopefully not Covert Cloak on the Scizor. We're going to switch in and I'll play rough hopefully here with the Amoonguss, and we're not threatening a lot of damage, but we're also doing a number on them defensively. They do flinch, no Covert Cloak, and play rough into Amoonguss, very nice. And they do have Scizor. They do have an X Scizor probably, which is not great, but I don't think awful. They could be Terra Grass on that, which would be a little annoying. I don't want to just not get Trick Room up. Who do they have in the back? Probably Amoonguss Heatran, I would think. So I have the most value out of my Amoonguss here. I'm going to Spore their Scizor, and I think Trick Room just on the off chance I survive the turn, because then I'll be able to go for another Spore next turn. They go for Swords Dance, so that could be Safety Goggles for sure. And then I look really silly. Liquidation into the Amoonguss, so chipping me down into Bullet Punch range. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's very bad, actually. Because I think Bullet Punch will knock out my Amoonguss, and they're pretty safe on their Azu slot. Okay. So I think I Spore that. Bullet Punch, I have to hope doesn't knock me out, I think, and they might be able to get another SD up, honestly. Yikes, okay. I think I might have to preserve Gothitelle so that I can go for a Surging Strikes later in the game, honestly. So I'm going to bring in Ursaluna here. If they go for X Scizor into this slot, or they knock me out with Bullet Punch, that's a ton of damage, and I'm probably going to lose the game on the spot, but given how far I'm on the back foot because of that, I think I kind of have to. If they go for Aqua Jet, looks like they're going to double me. and they Bullet Punch, so Ursaluna slot is safe, and yes, I think we're max defense on this Amoonguss, so that pays huge dividends here. The Scizor is now going to be in range of Headlong Rush. The Azumarill, food for Facade if I want to, but I don't think I really need to take that risk yet. Bullet Punch, the only question is if they have a close combat or something like that. I don't think I want to risk it even getting there. I think, well, because of safety goggles, they will always be able to navigate around Amoonguss, so no reason to mess around with there. Swords Dance, they could have any number of moves, but I'm pretty worried about a close combat or something. So I think I'll go for Headlong Rush into this. Yeah, that feels correct. Most likely they just protect here, try and stall out a turn of sleep, but really can't afford to get close combated. Ooh, we do see a switch, so I think that's probably fine, depending on what they switch in. It is Amoonguss, so we are going to get our Terra off first. So no Terra from them, or they're a faster Scizor. But yeah, I think Goth in here is just very, very nice, because I can threaten Fake Out, Headlong Rush next turn. And I didn't Swords Dance, so I can't just go for a Facade and knock them out no matter what. Yeah, okay. They could be Flying type. I think they go for it. They might go for it that turn if they have it. But what would that be off? Terra Blast? Yeah, but a good proactive switch on our Gothitelle for us, and now there's some thinking to do. I could Fake Out the Scizor and then knock out the Amoonguss. Or at least I could if Tailwind was up, but I think I'd rather just risk them going for double protect and take the knockout into Scizor. That feels a lot more consistent, but no protect, and we're going to see a big Bullet Punch. No Bullet Punch. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I feel like they should have just... No, this could have gone very wrong for us. Because we're such a faster Ursaluna, they could have outsped hit us with a big X Scizor. But that's not the end of the world, because then we get our Amoonguss in, we're threatening Rage Powder. Yeah. So I think we put ourselves in a really good position switching proactively with Gothitelle. Because, okay, they haven't burned their Terra yet, right? So, with that in mind, we do have to be conscious of our turns. I think we can switch in Amoonguss. At this point, it's pretty useless. Azu has its one turn taken. We don't have a knockout into Amoonguss, do we? No, I don't believe we do. Yeah, I think we switch into Amoonguss here. And we don't have a knockout yet on their Amoonguss. I don't think we will get one. I'm going to protect. It's a little defensive, but because of their option to defensive Terra, and because we're -1 defense and special defense, I don't think we're in as good of a position as it seems. So what I'm doing here is just trying to shuffle the board around and maybe get into a position where, yeah, okay. So there is the Terra Grass, as expected. If we could have gotten a Swords Dance up, this would have been good for Ursaluna. Like, we would have had a fairly free Facade into either. But yeah, the Headlong Rush, they did waste our Trick Room pretty effectively. So they Spore into the Goth slot and go for a Flash Cannon. Okay, that I can deal with. Now they more or less have to go for Heat Wave. They shouldn't be able to knock out my Ursaluna. Their back Pokemon... Well, are they Specs Heatran? That's the question. If they are, they're locked into Flash Cannon. Is that losing for me? It doesn't really matter because I can't Rage Powder away. So I think I do just have to go for Should I switch? Probably not. I think I'll go for Facade into the Heatran, and they go for Rage Powder, redirecting that, fair enough. But they probably have to go for Heat Wave. Yeah, they do. They double hit. It's going to do a lot. Yeah, a ton. And I think it's not over, though. I really don't. Oh, okay. Yeah, that does more than I expected. Now it's super not over. Yeah, you should really be EVing your Amoonguss to live that comfortably. Granted, I did do a little bit of damage, so maybe I just got like pretty near the max roll, but at this point I have no turns of yeah, I have no turns of the Spore active on the Azumarill, so I have a pretty safe fake out into Heatran and Facade into that Azumarill slot. And it's going to be close, but I think I should close it out with Gothitelle. Yeah, they reveal Protect. It would have been good to reveal if they're leftovers or not. But yeah, we're going to knock out their Azu. Yep. And we bring on our Ursaluna, who's going to be able to go for Ice Spinner. Definitely not live their Terra Grass, but if they're not Assault Vest, I think I like my chances. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. That's very good. So they could go for Heat Wave. Okay. Does this change anything for me? So it was good that I minimized our burn damage. I never go for Trick Room here unless I switch. But I should only ever do that if I'm able to get a Taunt off first, which I don't think I can guarantee. So I think I go for Psychic and Facade here and force them to Heat Wave. No, this was pretty incorrect. I think well, one option I could have gone for is switch in the Ursaluna, or switch in the Urshifu on the Gothitelle slot, eat the Heat Wave, get Fake Out active on the field, and then get 2 Ice Spinners off. But that, I think, unnecessarily would have risked going for a Heat Wave burn. Like, they have to, if they double hit and hit me with a burn on Ursaluna, I think that outright very close to loses me the game. I think there's still a chance to win that 1v1, but now I think we go for Psychic, U-turn, or no, not U-turn, Ice Spinner, and it's good we have that coverage move here. CC is 160 power because of 180 power, right? Yeah, close combat is going to be stronger than Ice Spinner here. 160 versus 60 plus 120 is 180, so close combat's more optimal here, and they cancel the battle. Oof. So real nail biter there. They played pretty well. The Swords Dance almost got it for them on the Safety Goggles Scizor. I think that's probably the standard move. If you're not like Choice Band or Life Orb, you're pretty much going to be the Safety Goggles. Otherwise, Amoonguss just ruins your day. So they caught me off guard, but we were able to position into a winning spot just because of Ursaluna's bulk and power still being able to get us the win in Trick Room. Alright, potentially the last battle before Master Ball tier. It's going to be against a Iron Hands, Landorus, Zapdos, Heatran, Fluttermane, and Rillaboom. So lots of pivots here. Potentially 4 switching moves with Volt Switch, U-turn, Volt Switch, and U-turn. So Gothitelle, consider your days numbered, buddy. I do think Volcarona is quite good. JK. It's good. You kind of think, okay, yeah, if I Terra, I'm good, and then your Terra just gets nuked by something else. So Terra Water is what I'm going to want to go for against Landorus, Zapdos, Hurricane, but then suddenly I just get beaten by their pivots and Fluttermane, so I don't think that's wise. Especially if they're AV Lando, that could be an issue. I'm a little worried about their Rillaboom because they'll outspeed me with Fake Out, and that'll be an issue. I think Volk's a pretty good lead, as is Urshifu, honestly. I think Amoonguss in the back is almost necessary, and to be able to cover their Heatran at all, I think I need a Roaring Moon as my last. So I think this game's pretty... I'm leaning pretty hard on Amoonguss this game, which tends to be the case when you don't bring Gothitelle. Like, you have so many Pokemon that are either setting up or very frail, so you need something like Amoonguss to basically glue the team together. Okay, and it's going to be Fluttermane and Landorus T as the leads against my Volcarona Urshifu. Very happy with that. I think they're almost forced to Terra the Lando slot or switch it into something like Zapdos, Heatran. All of those could be good. I think I'm going to protect my Volk, and I think they have plenty of switches into Surging Strike. They must have brought Rillaboom in my opinion, so I think any damage on them if they Terra is good. So that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to U-turn the Lando, knowing it could be Rocky Helmet, but also knowing that it might switch into Rillaboom. And we see the Flutter switch out, and okay, that is who they expected, so might have seen me hovering that too. I was kind of considering that, more so for the chip rather than reading the switch, but yeah, they expend 2 of their defensive options here, and they might end up in a pretty weak position against the Terra Water, the most often Terra on the Lando, just because it's so good. It resists the water types and the ice type moves coming your way, so we're going to get some good chip off. Protect just defensively, and yeah, let's see what move they went for. So not a lot of damage, but ooh, and they're actually going to get Grassy Train healing, so that could be annoying. Fortunately, I think Amoonguss is a very safe switch here, but there's not safety goggles on Lando. We know they're not Terra Blast, so we get a pretty safe Spore next turn, I think. And they do hit Amoonguss, which is, I think, better than them missing, because then I believe Stomping Tantrum would be active as double. But we're getting a ton of HP back on our Amoonguss. I think I like Roaring Moon in here just because I feel a pretty safe Spore into the Lando slot. It could Wood Hammer, Rock Slide, which is going to do a lot, don't get me wrong, but oh, you know what? They have Fake Out on the board. This was risky, but I think not insurmountably bad for me. We'll see how much Rock Slide does. But this was definitely a risk. And there is no Wood Hammer, so I was not making a read, but I kind of expected a Wood Hammer or something to come out. Ooh, they taunt on Rilla. That's very cool. That is very, very cool. Okay. That's unfortunate, but not, again, insurmountable. So, we don't know if they're Choice Scarf or not. I don't really want to switch in. That seems pretty bad. I think Acro into the Lando is very strong for me, as is Self Pollen Puff. They're threatening Rock Slide U-turn, which is definitely threatening. But if I can get their Lando low enough, I think that's fine. Do I go for Crunch here? Yeah, definitely Crunch. The damage is kind of marginal. I went for Crunch because if they switch in, it's a little stronger against everything but Iron Hands, which I don't expect to be the most common Pokemon here. And it is Heatran, so I was correct to Crunch. They are Choice Scarf Roaring Moon, and they've missed another attack into it, so I would be healing with leftovers and Pollen Puff, but definitely nice that I don't have to worry about the flinch chance. We do flinch there, unfortunate. But now we have a very, very safe switch into our Urshifu. We know they're Choice Scarfed. We get free Tailwind up, and Yeah, they could Flash Cannon, they could Earth Power that. So do I go for Tailwind or Acrobatics? I think Acro probably better. Gets close to knocking out Rillaboom at least. But I could also just go for Tailwind. I think that's most likely my best play. In that, yeah, that feels better. This feels a little questionable. Tailwind was probably better, given they still have Rillaboom in the back, and I'm taking a lot of damage potentially on Roaring Moon this turn with a Flash Cannon plus Rock Slide plus a flinch chance, but yeah, there is Rock Slide, so I think I should have gone for Tailwind. Not only does it not knock out, yeah, there is the flinch, so it doesn't matter what I would have gone for. The Heat Wave could double burn, would be bad. No burn though. We're going to start healing up a bit, and as are they. I think we get Tailwind up here. We haven't burned our Terra, which is good. Very good. They almost certainly go into Roaring Moon here, or they most certainly go into Rillaboom, but I don't think I really care. I think I go for Protect. Close combat's interesting. Yeah, I think I close combat the Heatran. Nah, Surging Strikes is better. I don't think I have to make a read here, but I think I probably should. I don't think they go Flutter. So I'm going to close combat the Heatran, even though I was pretty confident it would switch, so I should have gone for U-turn, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, there's Rilla, so we get a big close combat, kind of the mid-ground play where we take a bit more from Rock Slide, but we do a big chunk to Rillaboom. And also we would have guaranteed knockout into Heatran. So pretty good battle so far. Oh, they are Citrus, okay. Good to know. Probably still in the range of Acro though. Rock Slide. How much is that doing? Fake out Rock Slide would probably knock us out, honestly. So I don't want to open myself up to that. We are all healing a ton. How many turns? No more turns of grass. I might have liked another turn of grass, I'll be honest. Fake out Rock Slide. That's going to be very close. And I'm pretty sure, do not knock them out. But I think Acro Switch is just safest for us still. So Volk is just like dwelling in the back as our Roaring Moon just keeps eating hits, but we would have knocked out this this darn Lando a while back if we had gone for Tailwind, so misplay on my part. No, actually, just kidding. Well, the turn we went for the crunch on it, definitely. Ooh, they switch. Interesting. Okay. Probably into Heatran, so solid read, but I should be getting Tailwind. Did I Acro here? Flutter. Interesting. That's not really a threat for Roaring Moon. Or Amoonguss. We do get an Acro, and it does a lot. Very nice. So, I mean, pretty safe Protect Spore, yeah? We have to predict the slot, though. So, Protect. Do we have to predict the slot? I don't think we do. Because Tailwind covers Flutter Switch if we don't flinch. And Spore covers Lando Switch if they do. So we're making a concession here. And if we don't flinch, we should come up pretty big off of it. Reasonably big. So this has been a really, really good battle so far. So we haven't had a lot to be able to deal with the... And we do get Tailwind, very nice. And Grassy Terrain is going to heal us within range of another Rock Slide, so very happy about that. But we did get the turn wrong, I suppose. We didn't hit the right Pokemon, but totally okay with that. They might go for another switch, honestly. That's definitely cause for concern. I don't want to burn my Terra quite yet. Yeah. Acro into Rilla feels good as the Spore. To cover this, they have to get a Rock Slide flinch. Do I want to give them the opportunity? I think no. Yeah, I think no. I don't want to risk a switch because like either of my slot can get knocked out if they make a read. So they have to fake out. I feel like they have to fake out Roaring Moon here. Yeah, they do. So we don't take a risk that turn. We basically say, okay, you could taunt us if you're a fairly speedy Rillaboom or you get a flinch. But we played a little safer and we go for Spore, knowing that they're not really doing too much damage. They're just going for flinches and they don't get it finally. So Amoonguss is pretty safe, and now is kind of where we bust the game wide open. Because now we have Acro into Rillaboom plus Spore, which covers both Heatran and Stay In. Very well. And yeah, that feels quite safe. Unless they protect Rilla. And they have Taunt, so you have to expect Drum Beating or Wood Hammer, and then probably U-Turn or Knock. So they do switch, and there it is. There's the Heatran. We're going to get the Spore if they're not. Oh, that does so much. Wow. Ton of damage. Yeah, that's a crit. And Lando stays asleep. I wonder if we can knock out their Lando. They've never switched it out, so we're still not intimidated. We've just had our booster energy active. Oh, that's so cute. I've never noticed that. If you Spore a Heatran, its eyes go dim. Maybe that's darker than it is cute, actually. But yeah, now one more turn of Tailwind. I could take this opportunity to knock out Lando, I think, which I might do. Like, do I need my Water Terra for anything? No, everything's in knockout range that needs to be. Do I need my Water Terra for anything? Maybe Heatran if it gets into a Stall War, but it shouldn't come down to that. But I don't really want to risk them waking up is more the issue. Like if they wake up here, I could lose. So yeah, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go for... We've played a defensive, principled game so far. We'll hold out, but yeah, if we had gone for Terra Flying Acrobatics, we would have knocked out. Okay, so now we're giving them an opportunity to crit the Roaring Moon or flinch our Amoonguss, unfortunately. So yeah, we might have messed that up. Okay, we do hit through though. Still a chance for them to get what they need though. They're now in range of Surging Strikes though, so a lot of those. So really good game. I think we're probably running low on time. Tailwind peters out. I think I like Protect Switch at this point. Do I? Nah. I just want to take too much damage for no reason. I'm going to Protect and... Am I doing that? I just get Tailwind up and then I win. Right? I don't want to switch in stupidly, so I'll go for Tailwind. Running out of time. Amoonguss being in here is pretty bad, but it's fine. I'm going to go for Pollen Puff into my Ments. And hope they don't double flinch me. Okay, we get the Tailwind up. We've been pretty lucky with the flinches this game, honestly, with how many they've gone for. And yeah, but they did get lucky on the first turn wake, even though we could have played it more optimally. I just didn't know my role, but I really should have, based on crunch damage. So yeah, really lucky. We get our Tailwind up, and now we should be fairly safe to go right into our Volcarona, and we should win the game, if not on HP, like Amoonguss and Grassy Terrain doing a ton for us HP-wise. Yeah, we just go Volk, because no real reason to risk Urshifu. Oh yeah, we're running out of time. I think so. The one way I could lose this game realistically is on your time. So at this point, rather than trying to optimize each play, I'm kind of switching to what's good enough, and I'm feeling like a lot of good enough plays are going to come soon, where I just go for the grass type move into the Rillaboom. Landorus can't protect. Flutter Mane might not be able to. It might be able to, but if it does, I get a Quiver Dance up. So I'm kind of trying to think the most likely turn a couple turns ahead now, just because I feel like I've played the game pretty slow, pretty principled, and then brought myself into this position where I can move pretty quick, knowing that there's less options to consider because I considered more options earlier in the game. But I definitely could have ended that turn immediately. I could have ended the game pretty immediately by going for Terrifying Acro. I just wasn't sure if it knocked out, and if it didn't, and they get the first turn wake, then Rock Slide knocks out my Mence, and then it gets dicey because of Rillaboom fake out pressure. But yeah, now we go for Crunch into Lando. No, we don't. We go for that, and Giga Drain, we're certain to knock out. Oh! Okay, Joy-Con Drift. Oh no. Yeah, Joy-Con Drift doesn't usually get me because I take my time, but this might be one circumstance. Oh man. Okay, yeah, it might all go out the window because Heatran's pretty likely to wake up. They go for Rock Slide here. Oh no. No, you never go for Giga Drain here. Oh my goodness. So unless they miss, they maybe could win on time if they take a knockout here. Okay, they U-turn. Oof, thank goodness. They crit. Oh my gosh. Not like this. Okay. Okay. Please. Please treat me nice. Flash Cannon. Okay. Yeah, okay. I've knocked out Rillaboom though, and I have most of HP on all my Pokemon, whereas they don't, so even if this goes to timer, I should still probably win. I have a free knockout into the Heatran slot, so I just go for Surging Strikes and I close the game out. That's a knockout. I Fiery Dance. That should be a knockout. And I have enough turns of Tailwind, so I shouldn't have to worry. Because Dazzling Gleam can never knock out Volcarona. My Urshifu always knocks out their Flutter, and then I have enough HP so that Amoonguss, worst things comes to worst, should be able to win even if they just lock into Rock Slide and hit forever. So really close, really long game, but it should get us into Master Ball. Really well played to my opponent. Really forced me to take a lot of time and definitely forced some errors. We will see how this ends up going though. Gosh, long game. Kind of goes to show like there wasn't a lot for me to do against the Landorus. They do protect, maybe hoping I'm not Unseen Fist. And yeah, there's the knockout. Fiery Dance, although I'm not certain will knock out Flutter Mane. Feels like it probably will. And we move first because of Tailwind, and Fiery Dance comes out, and we're Modest Flutter, and it takes the knockout, so now we just, no matter what, we switch out Urshifu. Like if we had infinite turns left, if we have infinite time left in the battle, we always switch out Urshifu. We know it's faster. Well, I guess it depends on how much HP they have. Nah, it doesn't matter. We just optimize for time here, spam A because of timer, because our Amoonguss is at full HP. So yeah, even if they go for Rock Slide, we win. Yeah, but that was not a good example of managing our RNG well. I should have been going for Tailwind every opportunity to minimize the chances of wakes, flinches, etc. And I should have gone for the knockout when I had it. But I think overall a pretty good, aside from a few micro mistakes, I think I played pretty safely. I wasn't switching unnecessarily. There was one turn where they could have faked out my Salamence, but they went for another move, my Roaring Moon, that I think was an error, but it was the correct read in that situation, so didn't get punished. And with 50 seconds left, the battle ends with Surging Strikes. Into the Landorus, as I almost did turn 1. Your Terra Water could not save you, Landorus. You were gonna get Surging Striked eventually. But I think could have been played a lot cleaner, but overall, happy with that win. Alright, so we do end up in the Master Ball tier here. I hope you guys enjoyed the battles. It was definitely more difficult in Best of 1 than Best of 3. I think Gothitelle is one of those types of Pokemon where it's so control-oriented, but you need to know a lot of details about your opponent's team to control the options that they do have, rather than trying to guess what they may or may not have. Go 6-2 overall with some pretty good wins, some pretty fun battles. I hope you guys enjoyed the battles. The rental team is going to be in the description of the video, along with the Poke Paste for it, along with the team's creator, Paul Ruiz, World Champion of 2018. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. And yeah, peace.